Hello everyone. So far we have done the two methods of finding the root of an equation. First one bisection method, where we are using the formula xn is equal to a plus b by 2. Right? In the second method what we have learned is Newton-Raphson method. Fine. In Newton-Raphson method we are using the formula xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus f of xn divided by f dash of xn. So this is the formula for Newton-Raphson method. So we have already learned these two methods, and the key point in Newton-Raphson method is in the first iteration you are going to take the value of n as 0, right? In the second iteration n is equal to 1, and it continues. Now in this session we are going to learn a third method called secant method. So we have in your syllabus we have these three methods to find the real root of a given equation. So far you are familiar with first two methods. So in this session let me do the secant method, where we are going to use the formula xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus xn minus 1 divided by f of xn minus f of xn minus 1 into f of xn. The formula is quite simple. In this session no need to find derivative and all. Only Newton-Raphson method we are finding the derivative. Whereas in secant method xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus, you just remember the numerator. So xn minus 1 less than that is xn minus 1 in denominator function of the numerator into f of xn. Fine. Remember you have to put the bracket for this term. So this is the formula for secant method, and you just make a note of these three formulas and you have to remember the formula. Now getting to the procedure to solve a secant method. Here I have a problem. Find the root of a equation x cube minus 5x plus 1 is equal to 0, which lies between 0 1. So here no need to find the initial condition and all. So 0 1 they have already given an interval. So you have to use secant method and we have to perform 4 iteration. In the sense I have to find the value up to x4. Clear? Now let me do that. Before starting with the solution, first you have to write the formula. So let me write the formula. Just now I have given, this is the formula for secant method, given by xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus xn minus 1 divided by f of xn minus f of xn minus 1 into f of xn. Don't forget you have into f of xn. Clear? Now you are going to give the let me do the first iteration. Directly there is no need to find the initial value here. Why? Because in the problem itself it is given that the value lies between 0 and 1. So let me straight away go through first iteration. So when you solve for first iteration, remember, don't get confusion here. In the previous session I have told you about Newton-Raphson method, where we are going to get where we are going to substitute the value of n is equal to 0 for the first iteration in Newton-Raphson method. But when you are going to substitute n is equal to 0 in this case, you can clearly observe that you are going to get here x of 0 minus 1. So negative value we cannot take, right? So see, x is equal to x of 0 minus 1, you will get x minus 1. So there is no meaning for that. So the minimum value that we can give for n is 1. Right? So suppose if you are going to give 1 in this place, you will get x of 1 minus 1 is x0. So remember, for the first iteration you have to give the value of n as 1. In case of secant method, I am doing this by secant method. For secant method, in the first iteration you have to use n as 1. Whereas in Newton-Raphson method, that is in the previous problems where we are using n value as 0 for first iteration. Whereas in secant method n is equal to 1. Clear? Now let me substitute n is equal to 1 in the formula. You are going to get x2 is equal to x2 minus x2, n is equal to 1, right? So this will become x1 minus x1 minus x of 1 minus 1 is x0 divided by f of x naught, xn, right? N value is 1. So f of x1 minus f of n is equal to 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So x naught into f of x1. I'm repeating once again, wherever n is there, replace it with 1. So you're going to get x2, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, 1 minus 1, 0, again 1, 1 minus 1, 0, again 1. Clear? This is for the first iteration. Now let me tell you the values of x1 and x0. Now in the problem itself it is given that the roots lies between 0 and 1. Right? In the problem itself mentioned. So I can take initial value, that is first value, as x0. So in this problem x0 is equal to 0. And x1 is equal to the final value in the interval, that is 1. So 0 is x0 and 1 is x1 you have to take. Clear? Now let me substitute the value. So you are going to get x2 is equal to x1 is 1 minus x1 is 1 minus x0 is 0 divided by f of x1 we have to find out. Now f of x is given problem, right? I'm sorry, I forgot to write that. First you have to write f of x is equal to x cube minus 5x plus 1. Now replace x with x1, that is f of 1 value. F of x1 value is none other than f of 1 value. So when you replace x with 1, you are going to get 1 cube minus 5 into 1 plus 1. So 1 cube is 1 minus 5 plus 1. 2 minus 5 gives us minus 3. So f of x1 is minus 3. Minus f of x0, in the sense f of 0 I have to find. So f of 0, x cube is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. Into f of x1, we have already obtained that, it is given by minus 3. Clear? What I have done is, I have taken first value as x0 and second value as x1. Now I have to find up to 4th iteration. For the first iteration I have to take the value of n is 1. First value you have to choose that x0 and second value x1. So substitute wherever you have. Since I have f of x1 here, replace x with x1. So you are going to get this. Now let me simplify x2. While simplification, care have to taken while simplifying the negative terms. In the sense 1 minus 0 will be 1. Minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4 into minus 3. So x2 will be 1 minus of minus will become plus. And again you have minus here, right? Instead we can simplify directly. See here, I can write this as minus 3 by minus 4. So that minus minus here I can cancel. So you will get 3 by 4 here. After that take the LCM, you will get 4 minus 3 by 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 by 4 gives us, just simplify it, 0.25. So we have obtained the x2 value and it is 0.25 for the first iteration. Fine. Remember, in the first iteration you are going to get the value of x2, whereas x0 and x1 from the initial value condition given in the problem itself. Now let me go for the second iteration. We have to find up to x4, right? So let me do second iteration. So I have already told you for the first iteration n is equal to 1. Now for the second iteration n is equal to 2. Substitute n is equal to 2 in the formula. You will get x3 is equal to x2 minus x of 2 minus 1 is x1 divided by f of x2 minus f of x1 into f of xn is 2, f of x2. Clear? Just I have replaced n is equal to 2 in the given formula, so that I have obtained this. Now let me substitute the values. x3 is equal to x2 I have it is obtained from the previous step, it is 0.25. Now x1 is already known to us, it is given by where I have written, see here, x1 is 1, x0 is 0 and x2 is 0.25, right? So x0, x1, x2. Now I have to find f of x2. Now let me find f of x2. F of x2 is none other than, replace x with 0.25. x2 is 0.25. I have already done that. Now f of x is x cube minus 5x plus 1. I have to replace x with x2 value, that is 0.25. So let me do that. You are going to get 0.25 whole cube minus 5 into 0.25 plus 1. Now let me simplify. 0.25 whole cube minus 5 into 0.25 plus 1. So that will give us minus 0.2343. Clear? I have obtained f of x2 value. Now I have to do f of x1 value. Wherever x2 is there, replace it with x1. x1 is 1. So f of 1 I have to find. F of 1 I have already obtained, right? It is already simplified here. F of 1 is minus 3. I am writing it directly. Now let me substitute. x2 is 0.25. minus x2 is again 0.25 minus x1 is 1 divided by f of x2. I have simplified here, 0.2343 minus f of x1 is minus 3. right? So minus of minus will become plus 3. Now f of x2 have already done that, it is minus 0.2343. Now while simplification, see here how I am going to simplify. 0.25 keep as it is. Clear? Now you just simplify the numerator. If you know very well, using calculator you can simplify directly. Otherwise, let me explain one problem in detail. 0.75. Now 3 minus 0.2343, that will give us 2.7657 into minus you have. So minus with this minus will become plus. Let me change here itself. So this is what I have. Now let me use the calculator directly. For the first time, first let me simplify this term. 0.75 divided by, just in order to avoid confusion. If you want, you can simplify directly. So you have this value, right? Let me multiply it with this 0.2343. So I am going to get this value. So this is the answer I have, right? 0.75, I am showing you once again, see here, 0.75 divided by 2.7657. We have this, we have to multiply this with 0.2343. So this is the answer we have. Now we have to subtract this value from 0.25. Now press 0.25 minus, this is the obtained answer. So minus answer. That will give us x3 is equal to 0.1864. Clear? If you don't know to use the calculator, you just simplify each and every term and write down one more step and again simplify that. So it takes lot of time, so that is why I have used directly. However, you will get same answer in that method also. Now I have obtained the value of x3 for the second iteration. Now we have to find third iteration. Remember, when you are going to do third iteration, you will get x4 value. And sorry, here we have to perform 4 iteration. In the sense, in this case, I have to find x5, right? 4 iteration I have to find. So for the first iteration, you are going to get x2. Second iteration, x3. Third iteration, x4. Fourth iteration, you will get x5. So I have to find the value of x5. Now let me do the third iteration using the same procedure. Let me continue here. So third iteration value. Fine. So for third iteration, n value will be equal to 3. I'll give you simple blind hint. See here, in secant method, whatever the iteration is, number, that value will goes to n. That is second iteration, n is equal to 2. Whereas in Newton-Raphson method, 1 less than that. For Newton-Raphson, when second iteration, you have to take n is equal to 1. That's all. Remaining will be same. In the sense, you have to use the same formula whatever I have given. Now n is equal to 3. Let me substitute n is equal to 3 in the Newton-Raphson formula. You are going to get x4 is equal to, here I am going to substitute n is equal to 3 in Newton-Raphson formula. x4 is equal to x3 minus x3 minus x3 minus 1 is 2 divided by f of x3 minus f of x2 into f of x3. So this is what I have obtained. Now we have already know x3 value from previous iteration value. Now x2 is also known. We have to find f of x3 and f of x2. Now let me calculate f of x3. In the sense, I have to calculate f of 0.1864 value. F of x is given to us is x cube minus 5x plus 1, right? So replace x with 0.1864. Let me do that. See here, 0.1864 whole cube minus 5 into 0.1864 plus 1. So that will give us 0.0744. That is f of x3 value I have obtained. Clear? Now I have to find f of x2 value. So x2 value is f of x2 value I have obtained from the first iteration. It is 0.25. See here, 0.25 I have to find. So replace x with 0.25 in f of x. So let me do that. 0.25 whole cube. I think calculator is visible to you. So 5 into 0.25 plus 1. So this is how you are going to simplify. You will get minus 0.2343. So I have obtained f of x3 value on f of x2 value. Now let me substitute the values in the problem so that you are going to get x4 is equal to x3 is 0.1864 minus x3 again 0.1864 minus x2 is 0.25. Right, divided by f of x3 is 0.0744 minus f of x2 is minus of minus will become plus 0.2343 into f of x3 is 0.0744. So let me simplify. See, just to reduce the memory space, I am talking bit speed. So if you are finding that I am moving speed, you just slow down the speed of video so that you will understand very well. However, let me continue. Now let me simplify this 0.1864. I am simplifying this one minus 0.25 divided by 0.0744 plus 0.2343. So this is what this entire expression value I have obtained. I have to multiply this with 0.0744. Clear? Now I have obtained this expression value. Now you press this number 0.1864 minus obtained answer. You have an answer button here. See here. So you have to press this button, press equal sign. You will get answer directly 0.20172. So x4 value I have obtained. Since they have asked us to find up to 4 iterations. So let me do one more iteration. So third iteration I have done. Now let me go for fourth iteration. So fourth iteration, n value is equal to, for the fourth iteration, n is equal to 4. So let me substitute n is equal to 4. So when you substitute n is equal to 4 in the Newton-Raphson formula, so this is what the formula we have. So let me substitute n is equal to 4. You will get x5 is equal to x4 minus 4 minus 1 is 3. x3 divided by f of x4 minus f of x3 into f of x4. I'll give you just a simple hint. See, for the fourth iteration, x5 you will get x5 is equal to x4. So 1 less than that, x4 minus x3, whatever the value you have in the numerator, take f for that. So you will get this. Again, take f and multiply with this. So it depends on you. But anyhow, whatever may be the thing, you have to remember the formula. Clear? For the fourth iteration, this is what I have obtained. x4 I have the value from the third iteration, and x3 I have done that in second iteration. Here I have anyhow f of x4 and f of x3 I have to find. So let me do that. So f of x4 will be equal to f of x4 is f of 0.2017. Fine. So let me substitute in here. I have written f of x value. So replace x with 0.2018. You will get 0.2017 whole cube minus 5 into 0.2017 plus 1. So let me simplify. 0.2017 whole cube minus 5 into 0.2017 plus 1. So that will give us, you just write down the value, minus 2.942 into 10 power of minus 4. As I already told you, when you have 10 power of minus 4, that is negative value, you have to shift the decimal by 4 digits. So let me shift that 1 digit. Since minus sign as it is, I am going to keep. Now I am shifting the decimal 1 digit, 2 digit, 3, 4. Keep point, again put 0. And write down these digits as it is. So this is what I have obtained for f of x4. Clear? Now I have to find the value of f of x3. So in the sense, f of x3 value here I have. See, x3 is minus 0.1864. So let me replace 0.1864 in f of x value. I have written f of x here for your reference. So let me replace it. So you're going to get, I'll simplify directly, 0.1864 whole cube minus 5 into 0.1864 plus 1. That will give us 0.07447. So this is the value of f of x3. Clear? F of x3. Now let me replace all the values in the x5 value. You will get x4 is 0.20172 minus x4 again 0.20172 minus x3, here it is 0.1864 divided by f of x4 is minus 0.00029 minus f of x3 is 0.0744. It's up to you. Whatever the digit you want after the decimal point you can write. So f of x4 again minus 0.0002942. Clear? I have just substituted. Now let me simplify. See the simplification carefully. Whatever the numerator is there, I am going to simplify. Listen to me. 0.20172 minus 0.1864. So numerator I have simplified. Divided by, open the bracket, put the denominator value. Minus 0.00029 minus 0.0744, close the bracket, plus equal sign. You will get this value. This value is only for this term. Now I have to multiply this answer with negative value, that is into minus 0.002942. Clear? So this is the solution I have obtained up to here. Now I have to subtract this from this value. Now press this value 0.20172 minus obtained answer. That will give us 0.20111. So the required x5 value is 0.20111. So it depends on how many digits you are going to consider. But first two digits should be same. Therefore I can write the required. I'm going to stop here itself. Why? Because see here they have asked us to find 4 iteration. So I have solved for 4th iteration where I have obtained x5 value. So I can directly write the required root is 0.2011. Clear? So this is what the procedure is. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you once again. See here. First you have to take the given function as f of x. I'm sorry, at the beginning I forgot to write it. So I have written here. And write down the formula. You need to remember this formula. Otherwise you don't have any way. Next, for the first iteration, you have to take n is equal to 1. Fine. So substitute n is equal to 1. You will get x2 value. Wherever the values of n is there, you are going to replace it with. Now x1 and x0 values will be obtained from the given formula, given problem itself. First value will be x0 and second value will be x1. So that is what I have written here. Now before substitution, f of x1 and f of x0 I have to find out. So f of x is given. In order to find f of x1, replace x1 with 1 in this f of x. So you will get the solution. The next, replace and simplify, you will get x2. Next, for the second iteration, I have told you n is equal to 2. Substitute n is equal to 2 in the by secant formula. So you will get this solution. After that, you have to find f of x2 and f of x1. x2 anyhow you have obtained from first iteration. So replace x with x2. So you will get f of x2 value, and f of x1 value I have already calculated and I have substituted directly. You will get x3. Similarly, follow the same procedure. But for the third iteration, you have to take n is equal to 3. Fourth iteration, n is equal to 4. Since they have asked us to find up to 4th iteration, so you have to stop up to here. And you have to write the conclusion. It is compulsory. See, the second question is, use secant method to find x power 4 minus x minus 10 is equal to 0 to find the root of, find the root of this equation, and we have to perform 3 iteration. So 3 iteration in the sense you will get obviously 1 plus, that is x power value you will get. Now anyhow, first step you have to take given function as f of x is equal to x power 4 minus x minus 10. Now before writing the RLs, let me write formula first. What is the formula we have? Xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus xn minus 1 divided by f of xn minus f of xn minus 1 into f of xn. This is what the formula we have. Now to find the value of x0 and x1 in the first iteration, we don't have it in the given problem. Whereas in the previous problem, they have clearly mentioned that the root lies between some particular interval. But here it is not the case. So we have to find the interval. So for that, I have already told you we have to give the values for x. So give x is equal to 0. You will get f of 0 is equal to 0 minus 10. So it is negative value. Now let me find x is equal to 1. F of 1 will be 1 power 4 minus 1 minus 10. Wherever x is there, replace it with 1. So after simplification, this will give us 1 power 4 minus 1 is plus 1 minus 1 get cancelled. Again minus 10, it is less than 0. Now put x is equal to 2. So f of 2 will be equal to 2 power 4 minus 2 minus 10. So 8 minus 2 minus 10, that will give us 4. So it is greater than 0. Anyhow, we have obtained a positive value. So let me stop here itself. Therefore, I can clearly write that the roots lies between 1 and 2. So let me write one statement. Therefore, the roots lies between 1 and 2. Fine. Now I have already told you smallest value you are going to choose that as 1 and x1 value will become 2. Now let's go for the iteration. For the first iteration, let me take first iteration. So for first iteration, n value should be taken as 1. Let me substitute n is equal to 1 in the secant formula. So you will get, when n is equal to 1, you will get x2 is equal to, n is equal to 1, x1 minus 1 minus 1 is 0 divided by f of x1 minus f of x naught into n is equal to 1, that is f of x1. So this is what we are going to obtain. Now x1 we have already know and x naught is already known to us. Now I have to calculate f of x1 and f of x naught. So let me calculate f of x1. Replace x with 2 in the given f of x. So I am going to do that. You are going to get 2 power 4 minus 2 minus 10. So that will give us 2 power 4 minus 2 minus 10. So that is 4. So f of x1 value I have obtained. F of x naught is given by x naught is 1. So f of 1 is equal to 2 power 1, right? So I have to replace x with 1. 1 power 4 minus 1 minus 10. Anyhow, f of 1 I have already done. It is minus 10. Plus 1 minus 1 get cancelled. You will get minus 10. Now ready with all the values, let me substitute. So you will get x2 is equal to x1 is 2. 2 minus x1 is again 2 minus x naught is 1 divided by f of x1 is 4 minus f of x naught is 10. Minus of minus will become plus 10 into f of x1 is 4. Fine. Now 2 as it is, 2 minus 1 is 1 divided by 4 plus 10 is 14. Now let me multiply 4 inside, so you will get 4 here. So now let me simplify directly. You will get 4 divided by 14, or else I can see this 2 minus, once at a time I am going to do 2 minus 4 divided by 14. That will give us 1.7142. So 1.7142. x2 value I have obtained, it is 1.7142 for the first iteration. Now I have to solve for third iteration. Let me do the second iteration value. So for second iteration, I have to take n is equal to 2. I have already told you. So when you are going to take n is equal to 2, put in the formula, that is replace n with 2, you will get x3 is equal to x2 minus x1 divided by f of x2 minus f of x1 into f of x2. So this is what we obtained. Now x2 it is already known to us and x1 is also known to us. We have to calculate f of x2, but f of x1 is already known to us. It is 4. So let me write f of x1 directly. I have already done this. It is 4. Let me calculate f of x2. x2 in the sense f of 1.7142. So replace x with 1.7142. I am doing it directly. F of x is x power 4 minus x minus 10. So 1.7142 whole power 4 minus 1.7142 minus 10. That will give us minus 3.079. Minus 3.0795. So f of x2 value. Now let me substitute in the iteration formula. So x3 is equal to x2 value is 1.7142 x2 minus 1.7142 minus x1 is 2 divided by f of x2 is minus 3.0795 minus f of x1 is 4 into f of x2 is minus 3.0795. Clear? Now let me simplify this. Simplification, you have to take care of the signs. See here, first I am going to simplify numerator. 1.7142 minus 2 divided by denominator minus 3.0795 minus 4. So this value I have obtained. I have to multiply this with negative of 3.0795. Now I have obtained the center value. I have to subtract it from 1.7142 minus the obtained answer. That will give us 1.83 1.85. So x3 is equal to 1.8385. I'm just telling you once again, simplification. You just see, you can use the calculator. So in only one step you are going to get. First you simplify numerator. See here, 1.7142 minus 2. Fine. Divided by, open the bracket, whatever the term is there in denominator, type as it is along with sign, minus 0.795 minus 4, close the bracket, plus equal sign. Now this value is I have obtained. Now I have to multiply it with this along with sign. Multiply with minus 3.0795. So I have obtained only this expression value. I have to subtract this answer from this. So no need to press any button. Now you have to press this number. So 1.7142 minus obtained answer, that is in the denominator. So you have to press answer is equal to, you will get 1.8385. So x3 value I have obtained. Now I have to do the third iteration. So let me do here. So third iteration. So for third iteration, n value will be 3. So whatever the iteration number, you have to take the same. So for the third iteration, n is equal to 3. Substitute n is equal to 3 in Newton-Raphson formula. You will get x4 is equal to x3 minus x2 divided by f of x3 minus f of x2 into f of x2. Clear? Now x4 value we have to do, and x3 I have already done. So x2 is also known to us. F of x2 is also known to us. Fine, f of x2 I have written here. See here, f of x2 I have done. So let me write directly. F of x2 is minus 3.0795. I have to calculate f of x3 value. F of x3 is another than f of 1.8385. So replace this value in the given problem. You will get f of x3 value. So 1.8385 whole power 4 minus 1.8385 minus 10. That will give us minus 0.4135. Fine. I have obtained all the values. Let me substitute in the iteration formula. You will get x4 is equal to, what is the value of x3? 1.8385 minus x3 1.8385 minus x2 value is, what is the x2 value? 1.7142. Here I have x2 1.7142. 1.7142 divided by f of x3 is minus 0.4135 minus f of x2 is, minus of minus will become plus 3.0795 into f of x2 is minus 3.0795. Here now let me simplify this. You have to look a calculator. So see here, first simplify numerator. Minus 1.7142. Fine. Divided by whatever the denominator value is there along with sign type. Minus 0.4135 plus 3.0795. Close bracket. Put equal sign. Multiply it with negative of this. Minus 3.0795 plus equal sign. You will get this entire expression. Now 1.8385 minus answer. That will give us 1.9820. So required x4 value is 1.9820. Now we have asked to find the value of the root of the given equation up to 3 iterations. So I have done the third iteration to obtain the value of x4. So no need to go further. Hope it is clear. The only thing is you have to remember the n value and the formula. Therefore conclusion, the required root is 1.9820. That's all. Method is quite simple. You have to practice more problem. Fine. While watching the video, you have to copy the notes. Again, I'm not going to give any notes, and again I'm not going to do all these problems. So you have to see the video properly and please understand the concept. Further, if you are finding any difficulty, you may free to ask the doubts. Thank you. Continue in the next session.